Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala syarfil anbiya al-mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Alhamdulillah, in the previous video we have taken from our the 3 GAS, General Adaptation Syndrome by Hansel. Alright, you can go to chapter 7. Alright, and we have the whole description in this book. Okay, so what we have understood is these are the various phases of anxiety, starting with the alarm phase where you have increase in heart rate, breathing quicken, blood flooded into your red blood cell, blood clotting times shorten, your muscle tighten, your liver provide fuel for you to flight or flight. Alright, perspiration cools the body, digestion stops so that blood can be diverted towards your muscular system. That is only for a short while because you cannot continue under the alarm phase. Alright, then you go through the resistant phase. The body is more or less in a state of balance. Alright, and you are ready to go. The body works to ensure that all different body system from the cardiovascular to the skull system is working in harmony for you to either run or fight back. Then this phase is limited duration. That means it is a very short period of time. But beyond that, it will go into the exhaustion period. And this is where, if your body reserve is ultimately exhausted because the whole focus is on fight or flight, and the anxiety is being built up continuously, your body reserve will ultimately be exhausted. And if the flight or flight response continues too long, then you go into severe anxiety, panic attack, and all the related anxiety-related psychological problems. So now we are not talking about just anxiety insofar as our existential existence against a lion or a tiger or a predator, but it is our anxiety over things that we see in the modern world: examination, lack of money, lack of position, no future, hopelessness, and so on. So these are indicators of anxiety, and there are many tests that we can do, questionnaire system, in which I am going to bring a few, so that inshallah from here you can then use it to do a short test to your client or even for yourself to learn this whole idea of how we can actually overcome anxiety through positive Islamic cognitive behavior therapy. So we have this anxiety test. You go to the website, you can download this. Neil and Nis and Deal 1990 have a short questionnaire. If a student, this is for exam, so you can take it for maths exam, physics exam, chemistry exam, even for presentation, for your viva or for your public speaking, whatever it is, you can just use this thing, but you just change the term and terminology. Alright, to complete this evaluation, read this 10 statement and reflect upon the past testing experience. You may wish to consider all testing experience or focus on the particular subject. That means whether math, science, history, geography, whatever it is. How often this statement describe you by choosing the number from 1 to 5. That means if this statement is not true, it never happened to you, is 1. If rarely happen, is 2. If sometimes it happen, is 4. Often is 5. Often is 4. Always is 5. Alright, so you have this whole, just a very simple question, and you can change the statement. Instead of test, you can say, okay, presentation. Alright, for example, say we just take focus now on test. Say for example, now we're talking about maths. Alright, for the whole examination. So I can just use the word maths first, just to complete the 10 tests. So I have visible signs of nervousness such as sweaty palm, shaky hands, alright, right before the test. So if you always have it, that means it's what? 5. If often, is 4. Sometimes, is 3. Rarely, is 1. Never happen, you just put 1. Alright? So this is question number 1. Question 2, I have butterflies in my stomach. You feel like, there's a butterfly there moving around in your stomach. Yes or no? Always, often, sometimes, rarely, or never. Number 3, I feel nauseated. You feel like vomiting before a test. You feel, your whole body is, you feel very nauseous in trying just before the test. All right. If it's always, often, sometimes, rarely, or never. Number 4, I read through the test and feel that I do not know any of the answers. So you go for your maths test. Wow, die. They say, die. They cannot answer or whatever. So you read through the test and feel that you cannot, you just go blank. All right. I read through the test and feel I do not know any of the answers. If yes, always. Often, sometimes rarely. Okay. Number 5, I panic before and during the test. So before the test, you panic already. You have all these sign symbol. During the test also, you panic. Okay. So always, often, sometimes, rarely, or never. Number 6, my mind goes blank during the test. When you look at the paper, actually you know the answer, but then suddenly your mind is just knocked out. You just cannot recall. Okay. If that's happened, all right. Number 7, I remember the information that I blank out once I get out of my testing situation. You get out of the exam hall and say, I know the answer, but I didn't know just now. Does it happen to you? Because of the panic and the anxiety that you have, you just blank out. Number 7, is it often, always, sometimes, rarely, or never? Number 8, I have trouble sleeping the night before the test. So before the night, you roll, and roll. You're thinking about your test, so you have a very bad night that night. Do you often, always have that problem? Number 8. Number 9, I make mistakes on easy questions or put answers in the wrong places. So sometimes you make what they call mistakes that you should not be making. You know what is it all about, but because of your anxiety and panic, you put in the wrong places. Number 10, I have trouble choosing the answers. When you look at all the options, especially multiple choices, you think that everything can be. Even though it is very specific, actually multiple choices, you got to test your knowledge to the depth, but you, at that point, because you just, your mind is not working properly, you cannot choose the right answer. So this is the score. All right, so you put whether 5, 4, 3, 1, 2, whatever the number, for each and every one of this question, and you put it for yourself. All right. So if you have your client, you can ask that client to do that. If say you are a counselor at school, all right, you are a school counselor, and this person is reported by the teacher having a lot of problems. He's super intelligent, but somehow always keep on failing the exams. All right, then maybe refer to you. Then you can do this simple test. So remember, this is the same thing. I have even say, for example, instead of test, before public speaking. So you can turn all this into public speaking questionnaire, or before a presentation, project presentation. So all project presentation, or any other things that is related to the academic world that you can use this. So if your range of answer, total score, I'll give you the score system. If you add all the score, your score will be from 10 to 50. Minimum is 10, maximum is 50. Okay, 10 to 19 indicates you do not suffer any test anxiety. So you get 10 to 19, yeah, okay. All right. In fact, if your score is below 10, you may need a little anxiety. Why? You can perform better. Remember, we need a little bit of stress. So you think just, okay, sera, whatever happen. So you just take it without even preparation. That attitude is wrong. All right. So if your score is below 10, a little more anxiety may be healthy to keep you focused and get your blood pumping during exam, so that you can focus and really take your exam seriously. Some people, they don't take it seriously. They just say, okay, fail lah. So what? You know, that is not the attitude of an achiever. So that also needs some sort of coaching, so that they can be more focused in the exam. So if you are 10 to 19, is okay. Below 10, have a little bit of stress, so that you can focus on your exam. If 20 to 35 points, that although you exhibit some characteristic of test anxiety, the level of stress and tension is probably healthy. So it's okay. If you're between 20 to 35, it's normal. Just like any other student who have this normal range, they sometimes panic a little bit. Sometimes they go blank for a while. Sometimes they have this fear of this exam just for a short while. But they can overcome it and make a good outcome for the test. Be full of confidence, really focused, being able to focus during the exam, not worrying about the result. They don't care about the result, but they focus on that spot. How to do their best, achieve the best, fulfill the best in their exam. So this is the normal range. If you're over 35, then you have a problem. Points suggest that you're experiencing an unhealthy level of test anxiety. You should then see your coach or counselor or your teacher, all right, and evaluate the reasons for the distress, and then identify strategies to overcome your fear. Identify strategies for compensate. Often the students become anxious about the test taking when they are not prepared as they should be. So they panic because of the last minute examination, the last minute preparation. All the whole term they just que sera, they don't bother. But coming to the last phase, then they suddenly study, but Because of that, they may not have enough sleep, and because of that, they begin to have this anxiety and panic attack because of they are ill-prepared to take the test or examination. So this is just a short, very simple test that you can use, and as I say, you can change the scenario for presentation or public speaking or whatever that is related to your academic world, and it is a way of measuring your level of anxiety for a specific situation. So in this case, as I said, my example is for a test, maths test especially. People are afraid of STEM, S-T-E-M-P, science, technology, English, maths. Maybe those are the things that, for example, students in Malaysia is very, very panicky or very, very worried about when facing this kind of examination. So inshallah, that gives you some idea of the toolkit today on how we can use this questionnaire to achieve some sort of indicator of our level of score for measuring anxiety before an exam, inshallah.